Okay, so let's look at the CISSP question of the day. So here's the question. A financial institution legacy web application critical for customer account management was recently subjected to a penetration test. The report highlighted a severe SQL injection vulnerability stemming from the application's practice of directly concatenating user-supplied input into SQL query strings for authentication and data retrieval. The development team, facing a tight budget and code base written in an outdated framework, proposes an immediate mitigation strategy involving comprehensive input validation and sanitization, e.g., blacklisting special characters for all user input. A full application rewrite is deemed a multi year project. So they give you the information. Now let's look at the question. As the information security manager for the institution, which of the following is the most appropriate and sustainable long term strategy to address this critical SQL injection vulnerability while balancing immediate risk reduction with the constraints of the legacy system? Okay, so what is the most appropriate, sustainable long term strategy to address the SQL injection vulnerability? So before you can answer this question, you need to know what is this, an SQL injection vulnerability. So what is this? Well, in a database, right? So when you visit a website, whatever input that you enter goes to that website's database. So if that database for that website is hard coded, meaning it allows the input to be run as a command or directly on the web, on the database, there is a chance that attackers could use SQL injection to manipulate the data or to insert an SQL injection on the database. So how do you prevent that SQL injection? That's what they're asking. So let's look at the options. Option one, implement a robust web application firewall to filter, block all detected malicious SQL injection attempts at the perimeter. Let's look at number B. Mandate immediate extensive input validation and character whitelisting at the application layer to prevent any malicious input from reaching the database. Let's look at C. Prioritize and fund the project to refactor all database interaction modules within the legacy application to exclusively utilize parameterized queries or prepared statements. Let's look at D. Conduct a thorough review of the database stored procedures and functions to identify and eliminate any potential injection vectors. Okay, A is not the right answer. This is they're talking about a firewall. A firewall won't block this. So let's eliminate A. And then this one could be the answer as well, B. Now let's look at C. Now the correct answer for this one, I'll give it to you, is this one is C. Why do I say that? Because C talks about prioritizing and funding a project to refactor all database interaction modules within the legacy applications to exclusively utilize parameterized queries and prepared statements. So the biggest thing here is parameterized queries. So what is this parameterized queries? This basically is a database that uses placeholders, right? What does that mean? That means it separates the user input from the SQL commands on the database. So if your database does not use this, it will be open to SQL injection attacks. That means hackers can input malicious code into the database. But when you have this parameterized queries, basically it means that your commands on the SQL, they'll have placeholders, and user inputs and the SQL commands will be separated. So whatever data that is input, that is the input data from the hackers, it will not be seen as commands. It will be seen as input data. So there'll be a separation between input data and commands because of this parameterized. So the SQL commands, that means it will have some parameters or some placeholders. So to answer some of these questions for the CISSP exam, you need to know all your technical knowledge, but also look at things from a manager's perspective. So this question was asking you to look at the long-term solution, not just the immediate one. And you needed to have technical knowledge about SQL injection and this parameterized queries. So that is the question for today for CISSP. I'll see you doing another question next time.